All right, everyone. Today we're going deep on, well, the title's a mouthful, but it's called From Chaos to Complexity, Bridging Julian Barbour's Theories with Symphonic Principles.
Catchy, right.
Super catchy, yeah. You know, I think we have to unpack that a bit.
That's right.
But the gist is, we're looking at the work of this physicist, Julian Barbour.
Okay.
And he's got some wild ideas, especially about time.
Oh, yeah. He's not afraid to challenge the status quo, that's for sure.
And what's really cool is this presentation we're diving into, it tries to connect his physics to music, like actual symphonic principles.
And, at first glance, that might seem like a stretch.
Yeah.
But the more you dig into it, the more you see these really fascinating parallels.
So let's dive in. I guess first things first, can you give us a little background on Barbour? Like, who is this guy and what makes his ideas so unconventional?
Sure. So Barbour, he's a theoretical physicist, but he's kind of an outsider in the physics world. He doesn't really work within the typical academic system.
Right.
And he's known for proposing some pretty radical ideas. Like, for example, he argues that time, as we experience it, might not actually be a fundamental aspect of reality.
Well, wait, hold on. Time, not real. Come on.
I know, right? It sounds crazy. But his argument is rooted in this idea of shape dynamics. Essentially, he says that what we perceive as time is actually an emergent property, something that arises from the way the universe changes and evolves.
Okay, my brain's already starting to hurt a little bit.
It's a lot to wrap your head around, yeah.
Keep going. I'm intrigued, but I definitely need you to break this shape dynamics thing down for me.
Yeah, no problem. Think of it this way.
Okay.
Imagine you're looking at, say, a still photograph of a busy street scene.
Okay, got it.
That snapshot, that's like a single moment in time, right? But in Barbour's view, the universe is made up of countless of these snapshots.
Okay.
Each one representing a different configuration of all the matter and energy in existence.
And he's saying time is like the sequence of these snapshots.
Exactly, like flipping through those pictures really fast.
Uh-huh.
And that creates the illusion of time flowing.
So it's not that time is this separate thing, like a river flowing along.
Yep.
It's created by the way things in the universe change in relation to each other.
Yeah, it's all about the relationships, the dynamics between things, not a separate entity called time.
All right, that's pretty wild. And this is where the whole symphony thing comes in, right?
Exactly, because the symphony, it's more than just a bunch of random notes played at once.
Yeah, for sure.
It's the way those notes relate to each other over time, the harmonies, the melody,
The rhythm.
The rhythm, yeah. It's like the relationships create the music, the meaning. And in Barbour's view, the universe is kind of like a giant symphony.
Whoa. So like each particle, each force is like a note.
You got it.
Yeah.
And what we perceive as time is the rhythm of the universe, playing out through those relationships, those interactions between everything.
That's beautiful. And kind of terrifying at the same time.
Right. It's a very different way of looking at reality.
Okay, so we've got this universe that's like a symphony playing out in time, but if time isn't this fundamental thing, then how do we even measure distances and things?
Ah, good question. And this leads us to another key concept in Barbour's framework, relational geometry.
Hit me with it. What is relational geometry?
So basically, it's the idea that the universe isn't defined by, absolute positions.
Like coordinates on a map.
Yeah, exactly. Not like that. Instead, it's defined by the distances between objects.
Okay.
So imagine, instead of saying, this star is located at this specific point in space.
Right.
You say, this star is this far away from that star and this far away from that galaxy.
So it's all relative to the other stuff around it.
Precisely. It's about the network of relationships, the connections between things rather than some fixed coordinate system.
So the universe is less like a map and more like a giant web.
Yeah. Where the threads of the web are those relationships, those distances between things. And this web is constantly shifting and changing, creating the dynamics that we perceive as time.
And this connects back to the symphony idea because
in music, it's not just about the individual notes, right? It's the intervals, the harmonies, the relationships between the notes that really matter.
Oh, I see. So it's like the distances between things in the universe are kind of like musical intervals.
Exactly. They're what give the universe its shape, its structure, its melody, so to speak. And this melody is always evolving, always becoming more complex.
This is some seriously mind-blowing stuff.
Yeah.
So given this whole picture of the universe as a symphony, how does Barbour explain the beginning of the universe? Is there still a Big Bang in his model?
Well, he has this concept he calls the Janus Point, which is, it's not quite like the traditional Big Bang. It's not so much an explosion as it is a state of perfect balance and uniformity.
Like everything just perfectly still and symmetrical.
Yeah. Imagine it like the moment of silence right before an orchestra starts playing.
Okay, that's a cool image.
Yeah, there's this incredible potential energy, all this possibility packed into that single moment.
So how do we get from that perfectly balanced Janus Point to the incredible complexity of the universe we see today?
Well, Barbour says that from this state of perfect symmetry, the universe starts to differentiate.
Like cracks start to appear in the perfect stillness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And those cracks, those differences, they give rise to more and more complexity over time. It's like that first note of the symphony being played, shattering the silence and setting everything in motion.
So it's not just randomness and chaos, but like a purposeful unfolding of complexity.
That's the idea. Barbour actually defines complexity as meaningful structure and order.
Not just things getting more jumbled up.
Nope. It's about how those jumbled up things start to interact and form new, more intricate patterns, like the melodies and harmonies in the symphony.
Wow, that's pretty profound. But I have to ask, where do we fit into all of this? Like, what about consciousness?
Yeah, the big question. And honestly, there aren't any easy answers. But one idea that the presentation touches on is that consciousness might be about like harmonizing with this universal complexity.
Well, tuning into the music of the cosmos.
Exactly. And, that has some pretty mind-blowing implications for how we think about AI and technology.
Ooh, how so?
Well, instead of trying to create AI that replaces or dominates us, maybe we should be focusing on AI that can help us understand and even contribute to this cosmic symphony.
Like AI as a partner in the grand orchestra of the universe.
Precisely. Working together to create something even more beautiful and complex.
That's a really cool vision.
Yeah.
So to sum it all up, Julian Barbour's ideas, especially when we look at them through the symphonic lens, give us a whole new way of thinking about the universe, about time, about complexity, and even about ourselves.
It's definitely a perspective that challenges our assumptions and pushes us to think outside the box.
For sure. And even if we don't fully understand all the intricacies of his theories, I think there's something really beautiful and inspiring about this idea of the universe as a grand symphony.
I agree. It makes you wonder, what role do we each play in this cosmic composition?
Yeah, are we just listening to the music, or are we actively composing alongside it?
That's something for each of us to ponder, I suppose. And maybe that's the most beautiful part of it all. The mystery, the endless exploration.
Well said. And on that note, we'll leave you to contemplate the music of the cosmos. Until next time, keep exploring and never stop asking questions.
And maybe listen to a symphony or two.
Yeah.
You never know what insights you might find.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
It's been a pleasure.